Hey everyone, welcome back to the Data and AI with Mukundan show. Today, I just wanted to tell you a story which is not about any kind of code or AI, but it's about frustration and obsession. And it's about the tool that I finally built to solve this problem that I've been quietly battling for, well, I would say around the time I started working professionally. So let me start with a moment that you may be able to relate to. So think about this, right? If you're a content creator, you may be able to relate to this. So let's say you write a blog post or an email or whatever, right? And maybe it's for your audience, it's for your team or your team at work, your presentation, it's for a presentation for a client or something, or even a product pitch for a future investor. And it's pretty solid. You think it's pretty solid, it's very thoughtful, it's well researched. Now you have to turn that particular piece of content, or in this case, let's just say call it a blog, right? And convert that into a slide deck, like basically a PowerPoint presentation. And, and you're out here staring at this PowerPoint like it's a brick wall, or like it's like a blank wall. You're just hitting blanks, right? And let's just say you copy paste some sentences from the blog you wrote. You try to break it into bullets. You're wondering if it's too wordy, right? And then you spend an hour trying to make it look, well, decent. And that's where the story begins. And I got tired of that routine. So it's like something that I've been facing since I started working. At least, that's when I really noticed it. Probably would have been there before, but how do you explain what you did in a concise, clear way? Yeah, so that's what presentations is, right? You are trying to convert something complex into short form, like anybody can read it and understand. And that's what I wanted to try to do here. I built something to help solve my problem of converting a blog into a PowerPoint. So I built like an AI powered slide generator. So this is where the AI part comes in. I promise there's not going to be AI, but there is a little AI. Obviously, this is an AI app, and this is the Data and AI with Mukundan show. But one that this app that I built is something that reads your blog. It pulls out the structure and gives you a clean, editable, and downloadable slide deck. It gives you with diagrams, with options, and with control over how you want to have it. And that's what this episode is about. I'm going to show you how it works and how I built it. So here's the problem that wouldn't really go away. Every role that I've worked in, an analyst, I was a content strategist, marketer, whatever, it involved translating ideas into visuals. But every time I had to turn content into slides, I always ran into the same wall. Like I had to rewrite everything from scratch. I struggled to format it clearly. I'm searching for icons or diagrams, and it was like I was translating English into slides, which is like a whole different language, right? And I realized this wasn't just like a one off pain, it was an absolute bottleneck, something that I repeatedly waste time on. So I wrote this down. What if I had an AI assistant that understood how slides work and could give me a full slide deck with the click of a button? And that was the idea here. But I didn't want a black box. I wanted control. I wanted to collaborate. And then I wanted creative ideas as well, with AI obviously doing that heavy lifting. What I wanted this tool to do, here's what the ideal state is. Like I paste a blog post, or maybe I upload one, uh, choose a design style how I want it professional or casual, this kind of design style, and I click generate. Um, and I get back 8 to 10 slides. For each slide, I could keep it or regenerate it or add a diagram or even edit it manually. And well, at the end of it, I want to export the whole thing as a PowerPoint deck so that I don't have to, manually copy paste it. And that's what I set out to build. And the key was really that I had to make the AI smart enough to format ideas like a human would. And not just summarize the blog post or something. It's more deeper than that. I wanted it to communicate, and communication is important, right? Like, you write something complex, you should be able to communicate it easily, not just summarize it. Now let's look at the prompt that I had to give to the AI that really changed everything. Now here's where it gets interesting. GPT-4 by itself is very powerful, but it is only as good as the prompt that you give it. And I'm sure if you haven't played around with AI by now, it's been around for 3+ years now. But if you have, it's just that, like, you've seen that, you try to do it, you try to get one prompt, you're not going to get the result you want. You need to keep asking it the right way, like, just keep probing it, and then eventually getting the answer you want. So after multiple attempts, here's what my prompt looked like that sounded more like a job description. So I said, you are an expert slide strategist. Convert this content into a 7 to 10 slide deck. Each slide should have a clear title and 3 to 5 bullet points. No paragraphs. If any slide is describing a process, include a DALI diagram prompt for the diagram, right? And this gave me structured output like slide 1, the problem, and a subsection of bullet 1 and bullet 2. And the DALI prompt was like a 5-step business process in modern flat illustration style. That's the output it gave me, right? And that's when things clicked. I wasn't just asking the GPT for help, I was hiring it to do slide thinking for me. So let's talk about now how I actually built it. What's the back end uh, tech behind it? I use Python based. I use Python programming, and it's a Python based library, Streamlit, which is helping build the front end interface. It's a very simple library in Python. It's what you see when you click on the browser, right? It's that simple, it's easy to prototype, and it's quick, and it's very clean in the browser too. So what I used specifically here was I used a text area function in Streamlit for input, radio for per slide actions, st.session state, which is to remember that the user changes between reruns, which so this lets users interact with each slide in sequence, and they could regenerate a slide, add a diagram, or manually edit the title and bullets. And I gave them style presets as well: professional, modern, bold, clean, and minimal. Became more than a tool, became collaborative. So let's look at diagrams, which are the next piece of this, which is like smart art on steroids. One of the coolest features is diagram generation. Something that I've tried before which didn't work as well was creating diagrams. And this was my, I would say, uh, my first attempt at creating something more concrete in that sense. So if a slide described a process, I let the GPT write a DALI prompt. Then I used OpenAI's image endpoint to create an illustration. So slide 4 might say 5 steps of customer retention. And the AI generated image, it's just a custom diagram showing exactly that, and in the brand style that you want. So you can even preview the image next to the slide. So the next steps for this usually next steps for where I want to take this up would include that, um, a more embedding of the image directly into the PowerPoint export, and so that's how this would work. I want to now talk about exporting a fully editable slide deck. So once you're done editing the slides, you would hit download. Behind the scenes, I use Python PPTX, which is another library in Python to create a real .pptx file, right, like our PowerPoint file, and includes slide titles and bullets, user chosen layout styles, font adjustments, and the result is a deck that is clean, presentable, and editable in PowerPoint or Google Slides. So when I first opened the first exported deck, I honestly laughed out loud. It just looked better than what I usually build manually. It's like amazing, right? This just amazed by the whole thing. So I've tried to build this a few weeks ago, and here's some of the use cases that I've seen. I mean, this is not the first time someone's tried to build it. I don't think so. But what I think is useful is like giving you the power to create it yourself. How am I doing that? I have a blog post link attached to this the show notes in this podcast, and you'll be able to click on this blog post and download the whole core and try to do it yourself. So what I've tried to use it for was turn blog post into decks. If I wanted to convert a blog post into webinar, I could do that. I could repurpose case studies into client proposals, convert internal memos into leadership briefings, create lesson slides from educational posts, and make this is something I've given to my friend who is more active in giving conferences. So I asked him to use this, and he said he was able to use it to make conference pitch decks from outlines. Um, and every time we used it, I would say, in my personal experience, it did save me at least an hour or two worth of work, grunt works especially. Um, so those are some use cases, but here's what I want to conclude with and what I feel is coming with this app. So this for me was not just like a weekend project, but it is just changed about how I think about presenting. It's not just about the animation or automation. It's about collaboration, and it's about giving creators a head start so that they can focus on the message that they want to give out, not just the formatting. So, what's next? Embedding diagrams directly into slides, a PDF export, JSON based slide editing history, a voiceover export for asynchronous talks. Now, if you want to try it or build your own version, like I said, I've included the link to the blog post where you can find the code and try to do it yourself. So it's a Python based code. And like I mentioned, I've used Streamlit in the backend and Python PPTX to actually do the conversion to PowerPoint. Um, so yeah, I'll drop that in the show notes. So thanks for listening. If this has helped you or inspired you, let me know. I'd love to see what you build with it. But until next time, keep creating, keep iterating, and keep finding smarter ways to tell your story.